Means that this keep, will it go up? It's going to be tight. He's starting to lose the villages. It's time for another episode of Legends of Korra. As we have got Viper versus the wonderful Core. Will we ever get to see him win? Maybe today's the day. I mean, I'd be impressed. Because he is up against the one and only Snake Man here on Hill and Dale. With the English versus the Chinese. Now, last time we watched Core play the English on Hill and Dale, it wasn't a pretty ending to the game. I think is the diplomatic way to refer to it. Some people might say a lot of Corpium was needed. Some people might say his hairline retreated quicker than the French Defense Force in World War II. Overall, the point we're getting at is he left that game very, very annoyed. This time around, though, I have high hopes. You know, Viper is not going to be an easy opponent, but the difference this time around for Core, at least, is that he's not off the back of a hardcore losing streak, right? Like, he's got to be feeling confident. He's got to be feeling better, because yesterday, he had a hard time. At one point, he was 6 in the negative. He was sinking all the way down to the bottom of the Elo Ocean quicker than the Titanic. But now, of today, he's in the top 100 again. 62nd, our boy Core, climbing. But possibly the biggest challenge he's going to get today here in the Viper, who is currently sitting 6th on the leaderboard. I believe, actually, this game for Viper would be the difference between getting Conqueror or being stuck still in Diamond. So, excited to see what's going to happen here, especially considering he chose something maybe a little bit more atypical historically here on good old Hill and Dale, which is, of course, the Chinese. But as we've been seeing in recent days, the English, I don't know, their stocks have been rising in literally every map. It's kind of wacky how good this Civ is looking all over the place. I mean, their win rate, they're kind of sinking a little bit at 48.4%, but that is because they have 540 games played at the highest level of play. Overall, tournament-wise, maybe it's just Viper being a god, but when we saw the English shown in round 2 of Golden League, they were looking 9 unstoppable. The interesting part for me, though, is that Core has a very different approach to the English. While most people are Robin Hood enthusiasts, it seems that Core watches those medieval movies to stare at horses, as the last few times we've watched him play the English, this guy's got an obsession with stables. I mean, I don't know, like maybe he's always wanted to ride a pony, but it feels like he always gravitates towards some sort of horseman composition as the English, which is an interesting idea in theory. Because if there's one thing that you have an economical perk around, it's food, right? It's the only thing actually the English have an economical perk around. You don't get more wood, you don't get more gold, you don't get more stone, but you do get a lot more food consistently through every stage of the game via the mills and their influence here. As you can see, giving you 15%, 20%, 25%, and then 30% increase in gathering rates on farms next to them based on the age you're in. Speaking of economical benefits, Le Viper gets his own. In this good old lad right here, the Imperial Official, which... Oh, Viper. Viper, you're playing with fire there, my friend. Man, Viper, we just highlighted he is close to getting Conqueror, and he wants to live on the edge. He has gone for the mill on the deer. Why is this living on the edge? You may ask. Right now, someone in chat, they're like, I know exactly why it is, Pigeon. Allow me to explain. It's because, you see, he's out of range of his TC and therefore is going to be under attack from long... No, it's not that. Don't be silly. I mean, that's a fair point. You're a very intelligent person, so well done you. But the big issue is actually that right now, these sheep are cursed. It's, I don't know what happened, but someone decided to feed them super glue. Because if you go from gathering deer to gathering sheep automatically with villagers, their hands seemingly have been stuck now inside the sheep eternally, as they never stop gathering from the sheep, but they never end up dropping it off. So you end up having idle villagers without them even being registered as idle. It looks very weird to watch. Actually, it looks like someone is just reaching inside of a sheep to try and predict the future. You know when you get kind of like those witchy sages that pull out the intestines and tell you, you know, say, oh, congratulations, you're going to have 3 kids, and you're going to name one of them Timmy. Also, you're going to get a 3-bedroom house. Like, wow, thank you for telling my future. It feels like that type of moment. Don't ask me where I get that kind of palm reading service. Imperial Academy is going to go up for Viper. No Barbican yet. despite the fact he could be up against English aggression, the reason he hasn't gone for the Barbican is he's eyeballing what's happening. He's seeing right into the basic core. He understands that he's not going to come under pressure anytime too soon, so it's kind of chill state. He gets to be a greedy boy. He gets to have that cake, and he most definitely will look to eat it as well, because if there's something we know about Viper, when you give him any sort of economical advantage on Hill and Dale, there is something that glows in his build menu. You know how most people, they'll click on a villager like this, and they'll look at this low side, like everything is just... It's just the weird little blue boxes and just icons, right? Viper has a different vision. Viper, the way his game works is when he clicks on a villager, there's this emanating glow from this building right here. He loves town centers on Hill and Dale. And although he's not on the stone just yet, it's all but likely. In fact, if he gets the Barbican down and begins to warm himself in, we're going to see TC boom up. Like, I don't remember the last time I watched Viper on Hill and Dale with less than 3 town centers. Hey, Core, we're 6 minutes in the game. Do you maybe want to move up? I like how we're just kind of being baited by the sheep. We thought there was more workers working on this. Turns out that nobody told Core that you can't actually educate sheep in building. Now, before anyone tries to prove me wrong, I would like to point out they do lack the opposable thumbs to easily hold the hammers. As, yes, although you may see a lot of blue silhouettes here, only one of them is, in fact, working on the council hall, meaning that this council hall, kind of actually up to modern building standards, is going to take at least several years to complete. He did also wool himself in. I'm kind of surprised with how defensive Core is. Then again, like thinking back historically when I watch him play the English, he doesn't have that tempo-aggressive style of English. He very much is a Castle Age enthusiast, right? He loves getting to the stage where he can just start pushing knights, getting cozy, booming up into farmlands. It's kind of weird as well, because it's not really to the strength of the English right now. We've seen plenty of examples at the moment with the return of like feudal aggression with a natural transition to castle. Usually, especially on a map like this, it's to your benefit to move in and drop some outposts near your opponent's eco lines. Just try and take away equity, especially if they're another eco boomer themselves. But it could be that he's playing Paranoid. I mean, one interesting thing to highlight here is Core did only go for 1 scout. So he's had limited vision, especially considering he was forced to harass Vipers. And yeah, it's... Core, there are no secrets in the world of Age of Empires 4, all right? Like, this is the thing about Core. He always tries to keep things secret. He even hides his match history, but there's no way to keep info from getting out. Just like there's no way of stopping Viper from getting all that info in-game, as he not only spots the stables going up, he also spots the walls going up. He knows exactly what Core's up to. It is clearly going to be a Castle Age timing, which means that Viper, he can just get Kushki himself. Question is whether he's going to need to wall, because if your opponent is going for knights, logically you should give yourself some sort of defense. The alternative is if you're trying to rush forward of him up into castle and get your first lancers out. And it looks like Viper will have a similar timing. Now, the interesting part about this, the dynamics at play, King's Pass being built will give an economical advantage to Core, but the build-up speed is going to be surpassed by the Chinese. I mean, you've got 10 villages working on it, so actually overall it ends up evening up as Viper only invested 4 villages. Interesting here. This is a very different opening for Viper overall, right? We talked about going multi-TC. He hasn't done that yet. He hasn't rushed the Castle Age at all, realistically. Like, he actually went for Castle as a knee-jerk reaction to seeing Core going for Castle. But even when he does, he doesn't invest a lot of villages. Now, this might be because he wasn't expecting 10 villages to be sent over by Core. Like some sort of savage barbarian that's just too eager to meet their twins, as more villages will be produced on this building. But overall, it kind of feels weird that with half of the villages, you can easily actually surpass your opponent. As at the end of this, just like, look at it. He actually beat Core to the punchline, despite the fact that Core had 10 villages the entire time working on that. China, folks. Ridiculous enough when you're playing in these team games at the moment. Still ridiculous in their one-on-ones. So now that we are up at this point in the game, this should be where Core goes hard into the Knights. There's good value in the Knights as well. Like, overall, I like the fact he's going Horseman up against the Chinese, just because if you go for the static Longbowman at this stage in the game, Nesta beats. Anything you think of, Nesta beats. So you don't really want to run into that. That's going to cause you some big concerns in the initial clashes. Interestingly, he's playing towards monasteries, though. I wonder if Core is astutely aware of how much Viper loves relics. In fact, I mean, Viper at this stage, I wouldn't be surprised if he found a fully sized relic for several $100s on Etsy, he would buy it. Because this guy is without a doubt the biggest relic enthusiast I've ever seen. And I don't mean the developers. I don't know how he feels about them. But the item in game, my God, is he in love with it. As he's actually supervising the monastery to ensure he pushes out monks at a superior rate than that of which is even possible for Core. Does mean Core's going to get the bitter side of this. Lancer is moving out to the wrong location, so it looks like he might be able to get at least one relic. But I've got a feeling we're going to get 4 relics to the 1 at this rate. Now, Core. Uh-oh. Yeah, Viper's like, I have made a mistake. I have made a mistake. And AFK Lancers aren't even going to be there to save you. However, they are rushing across now. It's too late. No! He survives! 6 HP. Core's going to pursue this. I like that he actually peels him back towards him here. Make sure that 1 or 2 extra taps comes out. Yeah, it looks like Viper should be able to go get that relic anyway, as the issue for Core is he hasn't been pushing enough. And I'm noticing a distinct difference between these two sides. It's the production rates. I'm pretty sure Viper started to supervise the Lancer push out. You can actually see it in the numbers right now. There's barely any in the fit. Oh, no. What? Viper, he peeled off. He actually ran towards it and then turned away. He never spotted the monk. So Core is actually going to get one of these relics. Probably only one. But I guess he'll be content with that. He's like, well, I mean, at least this investment kind of pays for itself. However, Operation Deny Viper the Trinkets has failed here, as he will get all the shiny. With 1 relic, 2 relics coming back, and then 2 more close by. Wolfie probably won't be able to kill him before he banks it. Actually, no, I think I'm underrating the power of Wolf here. There is a lot of ass nibbling going on here. Down to 21 health. This is being bit at the heels of. I think he's going to get it, folks. I believe. So Monk will be able to bank the relic and then instantly flop to the ground and, you know, repop. Wait, oh, clutch save. Once again, hand cannons. Cannons in general. The natural predator to all wildlife. And that's actually pretty good for Viper. It means he's going to grab another relic much quicker, right? Because he can have this one returning, then he can go back to the other. It's going to save him about an extra minute worth of gathering, which is going to put him notably ahead. In fact, if we look at the income per minute, like Viper, the only thing he's really struggling in is food. Does need to address that soon. Has boxed in Core, but hasn't really been able to take good trades because he's been busy burning walls. But now that he's gone for 3 TCs, I said it's Viper. You're watching a Viper game. It's on Hill and Dale. If TC count less than 3, delete game. And by the way, if he goes back for the Barbican, this is a lot more than 3 TCs. Right now, he's already going to out-eco. Right? He's playing catch-up at the moment, admittedly because, you know, King's Palace got built, Viper went for later TCs. But because he rushed up into Castle, identifying that Core wasn't going to hang around, he was able to grab these relics. And with 4 relics coming back to base, that's effectively 10 extra villages, meaning they're actually neck and neck on the eco count, but not for long. This is so crafty out of Viper, actually. Like, this is all him playing off of what Core done. This is something we've praised him for in the past. And, you know, this is the problem, right? Whenever you praise a player, people kind of assume that you are some sort of, I don't know, fanboy for X or Y. That's not the case here, right? Viper has earned our praise for the way he adjusted this game. He saw what Core was doing. He saw that Core was going for a castle rush because he had no aggression out early on at all, like 0 aggression. At that point, Viper could have went aggressive himself. But Viper loves getting to the castle age stage because of these relics. And he understands that if he races up, he can match, if not exceed, the timing of the English. But then on top of that, he can get more relics due to the supervisor ability. This is just pristine usage of Chinese. And this is adaptation. This is why Viper is a top 10 player. He doesn't get into the game and then say, this is my plan. I will do my plan. And 15 minutes go by and nothing changes. He gets in. He says, I have an idea, but let's see what I can do with that idea. He checks in on his opponent's base, That gives him the vital info, and then he changes his plan. And this is something we've noted Viper time and time again. We've seen it over the last few days. I think actually some of the most clean transitions I've seen out of Viper in months, actually. Like, his game is so on point right now. He sees his opponent is doing something, and he changes the game plan like that, instantly. And that's going to force Core's hand. And he has got the military advantage right now. Question is, what damage can he do? And how much of it is going to be superfluous? Villagers are going to be garrisoned. The frustration of dealing with the Chinese. That's going to force him away. Viper still just gathering stone in the meantime. He's got so many defenses, and now the Song Dynasty as well. So Viper now has 4.1 TCs to Core's 2. On top of that, once they both become pop capped, he has 10 extra eco via this. On top of that, because it's the Chinese, anything he supervises, 20% more efficient. It's just brilliant. And there's some interesting questions coming out around Viper's construct of these TCs. Why is he putting them all close together? Now, that's a very good question. Originally, people used to do this for the safety factor. A lot of players moved away from condensing town centers because it's inefficient after you tap the initial resources. What I mean by this is if you have all these town centers at the start, and you start to go on this wood line, and you go on this wood line here, and the stone line, you're going to deplete them quicker, right? After you deplete them, there's a lot of idle time running out to these new areas. It's actually more efficient to run out, drop a town center here, and drop a town center here, because then you have 3 different networks extending out from their locations. The logic being is you end up with less idle time on your villages for an initial idle time investment, right, of the villagers running out there. The risk, however, is that they get burnt. These are only 2,400 HP structures. The reason that Viper put all these town centers together is although it's inefficient from a macro-level eco play, it's safe against the raids. You understand that you have kind of sidestepped into multi-TCs, so although you'll be strong in a few minutes, Core should have the critical massive knights to punish you now. If you plopped a TC over here and another one in this corner, he'd raid in with a line of 12 to 15 knights, and he'd torch them down. That's why Viper condensed his eco like this. Well, the Woolen's a little bit late. Oh, Core with a sneaky wraparound. He's in. And the tech up. Core, what on earth is he up to here? I mean, he's shutting down everything right now. Viper, he still actually hasn't matched the quantity yet. He's still playing catch-up. And now he's going to play catch-up again as he's a whole tech behind Core. And Core, although he won't be able to snipe many villagers, think about the idle economy right now. You had this problem set up. You need it right now. Look at the numbers. He's draining him. This is the power. This is something that people have identified more recently, like that you don't need to kill eco units. There's an unhealthy obsession with killing the economy units at this point in the game. It's much better to keep your units alive and keep them dead economically. Because although the villagers live, if they're not gathering, they're idle. They might as well be dead. They're not doing anything for you. And now the clash in. Knights upgrade coming through. The timing on this is not good, though. Core maybe makes a mistake with this. I feel like he's thrown away the Knights for no good reason. If he just waited the 40 seconds, he could have easily had the edge here. And although he will have more Knights standing at the end of this, the numbers are heavily diminished. And considering you're right next to your opponent's base, you know he's going to reinforce. Keep at the front here. Viper still needs to complete the enclosure. Hasn't shifted the south side. This is a little bit surprising, though. Notice that Viper plays for the safe corner. It's easier to wall in. But gold, the amount of gold in this corner makes it a viable movement for Viper soon. Knights starting to raid in. Garrison's coming out. There's so many points to garrison here. Imperial officials ain't going to be as lucky to escape the wrath of Core. And Core, I can't help but wonder how much damage could have been done if you just waited. Watch the stats on these Knights. When they go from Knights, from Normie Knights to Elite Knights, an extra 40 health and a notable juice in damage as well. As well, of course, looking a lot more pretty as they get their golden hats. And that's the difference. I mean, if he just waited for this, like, these trades wouldn't even be close. It's an extra 40 health. It's also more missile and melee resistance. And on top of that, it's a notable increase of 5 damage. So, kind of a funky choice there. As a result, it does mean that Viper is going to recover this. Question is, where does he go from here? Back on the farms, needs to boost his food quickly. That's the reason he wasn't able to churn out as many of the Lancers as you would have been expecting. And now it's the pivot into the racks. Sacred Sight's also under his control. They don't call him the snake for nothing, folks. He snuck this. And now, because of the throwaway by Core, he also has the dominant force in the midfield. He's able to roam. Notice that Core is transitioning. This is good. He's moving towards a force that can end the game. The issue, however, is the way he threw away the Knights. They didn't really do as much as they could have. And it's kind of wacky because when he dove in, he maybe sniped a few villagers and an Imperial official here or there. But overall, if he actually just prowled around in this area, if he kited out Viper and his Lancers until the Elite Tech came out, I do feel like Core would still be here raiding right now. And even if he wasn't, he would have forced more troops out of Viper, which would have drained him. And that would have been the worst case situation, because as we can see, Viper is prepping for Imperial Age. And he might get it before the pressure comes in again. As although this is a strong force wheeling out, it is a slow force. Trebuchets moving at 0.62 movement speed. If they were a human being, I'd give them a Zimmer frame. Now Viper, ready to boom up. And I believe it is going to be the Spirit Way. At the front of his base, room to actually build up. Plenty of military infrastructure around it to get the discount on Dynasty units. Cool. Not much range composition. I'm a little bit concerned about this. Now, the man-at-arms, especially in their Golden Hand, they're respectable, right? 180 health, 7 armor. However, does Viper not just push Nest of Bees now? Not to mention Palace Guard, although they aren't as chunky as the English man-at-arms, they are a lot faster. Speaking of man-at-arms, I'll move in with the torch damage. He understands it's too slow. He can't rely on Trebs. Trebs makes sense if you're actually in a dominant position and you want to slowly move through. The thing for Core is he's going to throw as many man-at-arms in the mixer as possible, because at this stage in the game, he just saw the Imperial Tech up. He has a standing army. He understands that Viper can't have the same number, so he needs to exploit this to his edge. That's why he goes in. Moves through with one Knight and a Spearman. Discovers the build-up here. Viper, the timing. He needs more defenses. He needs them quick. Trebs are taking a coffee break. I can assure you that when it comes to the English workforce, we do like a break every 15 minutes. Now the raid in. Cool. Starting to take out the infrastructure here. Is forcing a peel back for now, but Viper at this point, he's far from out of this game. Like, this amount of infrastructure, you can't burn it down quick enough. Man-at-arms are starting to dive in. The Palace Guard count is adding up fast here. He needs to go for something better value. Like, this is not going to work out. The Trebuchets are still on a coffee break. They'll finally start to get back to work, but too little too late, it feels like. I mean, they might even be able to keep the keep alive. Especially with this throwaway. Core, just watch how quickly the military count's going to start to shrink. I mean, Viper, he's slowly growing it. Core, it's getting a little bit small. And both of them are food capped at this stage. The difference maker is this, the hand cannoneers, the play, and the supervise, the triple supervise. No wonder Viper is running out of resources so fast. He has discovered gunpowder tech, and now he wants to show it to Core. Imagine bringing a knife to a gunfight. Could only be Core in this situation. Imagine bringing a bow to a gunfight. Good luck with that as well. Barely any Lombos in the mixes. Barely any man-at-arms left here. Down to 12. They won't last long against the Remnants. Doesn't even shut down the economy that much realistically here. Force the garrison out into the keep. But outside that, everything's still been running. And it means although Core has better income for the moment, he just threw away a lot of what he spent. Meanwhile, Viper, now if we look at it, 50 military. Meanwhile, Viper keeps the number stable. That's a notable difference, and also it's a transition. Hard into hand cannoneers. Hand cannoneers that are unanswered because you didn't build Lombos. Villagers do have to retreat away as the keep did finally fall. Knights trying to march in. Hand cannoneers still somewhat unanswered. Viper needs that front line, though, to protect it, which is why he's getting back onto the farms. In the next 2 minutes, he'll have Palace Guard to protect. But now, he's kind of using the villagers as a pseudo shield here. He backs up. They will get butchered, but they take a while. 75 health, and the man-at-arms, although they are chunky, only 15 damage per strike. Nothing compared to the 42 damage they are tanking from the hand cannoneers. One by one, they're going to fall. No cheeky wall attempt coming out, although I would definitely be a fan of it right now. And although the Spirit Way is going down, remember you are up against the Chinese. You've killed 2 landmarks so far, but that only brings him down to 3 remaining landmarks at this stage in the game. Trebs are increasing in quantity, but I can't help but feel the front line is decreasing for Core. And it looks like he understands this perfectly. Rax in the center. He's going to try to restructure that, address the issue. Town center under siege. You see how quickly it can die to this heavy damage. 550 per shot. 500 after the missile resistance. Now the Lancers wrapping in. A few of these could actually torch the Trebs, but they do need to target them. Now, I've got to give credit to Core. He's actually gaining a lot of ground here. However, you're far from killing off the Viper. The issue you have here is he recovered on the backside. Like, he has all this farmland working for him. He's working the back of his base. These dives through kind of made sense from what Core needed to achieve. He needed to actually just halt the entire Chinese economy. But as the world has learned through their attempts to sanction them in real life, that's easier said than done. And it's definitely the case here as well. As really, the only thing that is stunting Viper's economy is his production of hand cannoneers. But those hand cannoneer numbers are growing, up to 15. Keep trying to be constructive, but that's not going to work. Not with the hand cannoneers here like this. The man-at-arms, they're just a little bit too slow to reinforce. It means that this keep, will it go up? It's going to be tight. He's starting to lose the villagers. The focus fire for Viper. No, he's scared of the trebuchets. He gets it up. Viper not willing to sacrifice a few hand cannoneers to prevent the construct. Means that now he is pinned in. And Core. These keeps also are military production buildings. He can get additional trebuchets on the front, more man-at-arms pushing in whatever he wants. The world is his cloister. Yes, I know what I just said. It's his cloister because once he opens this up, there is a beautiful pearl waiting to be exploited. Keep trying to go up. This one might be biting off a little bit more than you can chew. As Core, the villagers done well with the first one, but you needed to give him one of those coffee breaks to recover. Second keep is going to be denied. Trebs wheeling in. Trebs that were actually scaring the crap out of Viper here. I mean, after the Mangonels got nerfed, shattering projectiles basically makes this the new Mangonel, right? But that's not what he wants to use it for. Cool. Going for the landmarks. Hand cannoneers starting to build up, and you see what Core's doing here. It's always a throwaway. This is actually really smart. The way he's doing this, so he's throwing away the man-at-arms to kill off the landmarks. It's very difficult to achieve this against China, but he's getting very close to the win condition. It is costly, though. And it means you definitely have to have your food calibrated to keep up the push. And so far, he's done a great job of that. But now the switch up, the movement out, Palace Guard rushing forward with the torches onto the trebuchets. Target him out. And trebuchets forced to retreat. A heavy investment right now for Core. Turn and burn. But as soon as he turns once more, he will be burnt. As he wants to get another round of fire out onto the hand cannoneers. But oh, no, he went for the bombard. He didn't even finish it off, though. And the hand cannoneers are in. Boiling oil upgrade is not there from Core. Minigi cannot actually punish this easily. And a quick peel away. Hand cannoneers shift out of there with the formation shuffle. Man-at-arms once again cannot touch anything. And Core, I mean, I know boiling oil costs more, my friend, but you needed it badly here. And now you have no way of getting it again. Palace Guard in the field. Elite gold hat upgrades on both sides. And just a few Palace Guard will delay you long enough and force you to turn around. The way Viper does this, forcing you further away from the hand cannoneers so he can get the better trades. What a phenomenal little play here. Cool. Back to step one, it feels like. I mean, you know, he has made some progress. The problem is the Chinese can fix the damage done here. Now, and this timing is going to work out for Viper. He's running out of resources. He does have to come out of his base soon, and you've just lost your forward keep. So he'll access the small wood line. After that, he can head to the south. But now, the onslaught continuing. But notably, that number increasing again, now up to 26 hand cannoneers. And still no answer. You have to start wondering, Core, would it have been beneficial to maybe try Mangonels, or maybe at least use the trebuchets to target out the hand cannoneers? Because it's not just the baby cannons you have to worry about. Big Daddy Cannon came to play. And he plays rough. Clock Tower Bombards now in the field. And all of that infrastructure, oh my good God. Core is wood-capped, and he just spent a sizable chunk. It's almost around 2,200 wood on this district. Actually, more than that with the archery ranges. And it'll be gone in the blink of an eye. Hand cannoneers getting the Congo line formation. Small choke point force is good here. Delaying him. Palace Guard trying to rush through. Core not paying attention just yet, though. And being massacred for it. Targets the bombards. Guys, maybe you should just take the armor off to run faster. It might be more efficient at this stage because you're not doing anything. The repair force is good. Viper clutches with the bombard. And he might lose one of them, but the tap of the hammer, no, just in time. Core, I don't even want to know how many men-at-arms died. You know, he has been quite vocal about how much he hates the English in real life, and I'm starting to see him kind of channel that in game here. As I don't know how many man-at-arms he just threw away for nothing. But it's definitely going to come back to haunt him. As the sound of cannons will sound like an echoing of haunting. Bombard standing their ground against the repair force. Hand cannoneers on the side, just shredding through the man-at-arms. The bombard finally goes down, but it's an effective tank here. Role-playing Reinhardt from Overwatch at that point. Villagers being targeted out. Pass guard, they go for the exchange, and oh no, 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 the Lombos. They don't want this. Bombards are at least going to go down. Core throwing away more man-at-arms. How many men have to die just for you to kill 1 or 2 Siege? Core very much a subscriber to the not one step back strategy of World War II. Just body your opponent, right? It's not the quality, it's the quantity. And Core right now, he feels like there's plenty of Brexiteers to throw away at this. Meanwhile, Viper still relying on the quality. The upper class backline, these hand cannoneers that have been quite the premium unit, but the Lombos now addressing that. Core finally the transition, a big deal here. Needs to be careful of the pass guard. The issue with going this many Lombo, he's starting to sacrifice his man-at-arms production. His front line is a little bit more squishy now. The hand cannoneers are still finding value because of the way these fights are splitting up. And what a play from Viper. Actually, the way he's wrapping around, you see Core, he's getting hesitant, he's freaking out. He thinks he's going to get attacked by pass guard each time, and it means the hand cannoneers are still getting good trades. Once more in the breach. This fight will never end. But you know what? The economical downturn in the Chinese economy is going to come to an end because Viper is finally moving out. There's so much gold down here. Also on the north side, onto the wood line. So this is all just a mere distraction in his eyes. Like, he got the keep up. He's got an established point. He's pushing hand cannoneers. And he's pushing Core to reinvest in the center. It means that Core is no longer raiding anywhere else. And Core himself isn't really taking eco away, right? He's chopping this central wood line, but that's about it. The gold is left alone. The wood's left alone. He hasn't even had time to decap the sacred site. So overall, like, Viper, economically, is feeling quite cozy at this stage. Because although the numbers do look good for Core, the trades have not been. And we can see that when we look at the military. Viper at this point looking like a Harry Strike enthusiast from Modern Warfare 2. He's definitely getting some little kill streaks going. Maybe that's going to change. The attack speed buffer is there. Core finally realized that, that's right. Although I do have a lot of gold on my man-at-arms right now, they should be glowing gold, not just wearing gold hats. So he does get the network of citadels up, or network of castles actually, because he never got, yeah, that's right, never got citadels. Because he never had another keep to work with. As there's going to be some doubt as to the way he actually used those keeps when they first came out. Pardon the pun. Clock Tower Bombard, effective tank against all the Lombo fire. Man-at-arms chasing in though. And man-at-arms get baited into the death. The repair force to the side, keep the keep alive as the ball comes out. And now the switch on the Nest of Bees! Viper, he baited him in. And this is bad for Core. Folks, keep in mind, these Lombomen are squishy. 95 health. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever clocked this before. I think maybe I'm just an astute genius. I'm the first one to realize it. But Lombomen aren't very good frontline units. I mean, they don't really take damage well. And if anyone else, if we've got some other smart cookies in the chat that have realized that, you'll realize what's about to happen. Nest of Bees, we're going to find value against man-at-arms anyway, but now the value they can find against the Lombo with a superior range over them at 9.6 compared to the 7 tower range means you can't even hang around to go for the hand cannoneers anymore. You can't even hang around to go for the fight. Front line is gone. Movement forward. It's going to be a retreat. Core, if you stay here, you're dead. Nest of Bees! Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Heavy damage! Mangonels may have been nerfed, but Nest of Bees, there are a swarm of bees at this stage. They'll force him away. More ground being gained. Viper not letting up. Back in on that infrastructure. And Core, what do you do now? Because you have nowhere reaching the Nest of Bees. He doesn't have the siege infrastructure to go for the Spring Walls either. Remember that these trebs were coming out because of the Wingard pass. He actually has no siege. He has one siege workshop here. And he hasn't produced bombards. He hasn't produced springles. I think he maybe had 1 or 2 bombers at one point. But there's just no counter to this right now. He hasn't been going cavalry. Everything is static. Core has kind of pushed himself into a corner here. Strategically, anyway. He might be in the center of the map. But from a strategy point, honestly, you don't get more pinned in than this. And it means he's going to have to make a hard fought-for transition. And this is not a transition! And they call the English stubborn. I guess Core really is taking this roleplay a little bit too far. You know what they say, folks? If at first you don't succeed, throw yourself at the line of cannons again until there's enough bodies to make sandbag lines out of corpses. Which is essentially where we're at now. Although, mate, ooh, is this a mix-up? Core. Is he going to put the lombos on the walls? Is he going to get to put the lombos on the walls? You have to complete him for that. Hand cannoneers, they have to run around. But Nesta Beast, this is a bait. If he engages with the lombos, the Nesta Beast can kill him. Viper. Oh, he's going off the villagers right now. This is a bad trade. Viper the micro. He finally realizes that he was too busy raiding in. He couldn't get in, though. The walls went up just in time from Core. They stop him in his tracks. And it means Viper misses out on two fronts. He didn't make it into the base in time. The Nesta Beast, they have a second wind here. Core with the miss micro. He shifts around the wall as well. And the Longbowmen, they're in trouble. They need to run away. 5th of July here. Was it 4th? I don't know. I'm not American. Although, the amount of missiles raining from the sky, this lad in the red, he definitely has the aerial supremacy of the Americans. And oh my god, the damage is going to come. No, Core. Is that an auto attack? That has to be an auto attack. There's no way you intended this. Yeah, mistakes were made. More troops being lost. Viper, surely you just build more siege at this point. Like, this has been working too well. I don't want to encourage the siege-only strategy, but it's looking viable at this rate. The Nesta Bees really are unanswered as Core has just stubbornly kept his head in the sand. However, Nesta Bees now being thrown away. Mistakes made there. Viper, the formation off the mark here. And arms are going to be thrown away, and oh no. They look like dogs being baited with a toy right now. Here, over here, come on, go get it, go get it. Core's like, ooh, yeah, give me. We'll be able to get one or two. The repair's not on point from Viper. But if you think about the logical exchange of resources here, Viper, I think he even got the upgrade, so these are cheaper, right? Yeah, so he's paying 450 resources for a Nesta Beast. For comparison, that's about 4 man-at-arms. Now, you don't need to be good with numbers, and I can tell you don't need to be good with numbers because I clocked these numbers, to know that he killed a lot more man-at-arms than Nesta Bees were killed. If we do the ratio, there's 4 Nesta Bees, 16 man-at-arms would have had to have died there. I think over 20 died, at least, bare minimum. And, well, if I can do the maths on that, and, you know, honestly, we've seen my maths, I can guarantee you Viper knows how good of an exchange that was. And now, we'll keep it up. He switched over to bombards, though. Maybe a little bit of a mistake here. Trebs have been sniped out. Bombards are going to wheel back. They aren't clocked out, though. Remember, he stopped producing out of that as much. He's been using a Normie Siege Workshop because he's been supervising. And it means that these are quite squishy. However, if you keep running them away, the man-at-arms look quite stupid. I mean, they're chasing it now. The repair's coming out. Viper not quick enough, though. The bombard, this is why he's doing it, by the way. He realizes this is turning into a stalemate. He's trying to get the bombards forward to deal with the racks. That's the other reason for these walls. Core is trying to delay that. The walls might have actually been a clutch play to get Lombos on top, but more importantly than that, they're a way of preventing the Viper from being able to snipe down all the infrastructure with the bombard. Because right now, if there's something that's going to dry up soon, it's going to be wood. Stone, you can still afford small quantities of that to do this. Now for the fullback. More hand cannoneers being pushed out. Viper. Actually pretty healthy economically at this stage. There's a lot of exploitation for him. You can see that he's actually going for it on the sides here. I feel like Core has maybe missed a trick in getting a bunch of outposts around the midfield. It feels like Viper is allowed to go on the flanks, and we're seeing it down here as well. Like, he's starting to wrap in. And oh, Core. He sees the problem. He's going to treat it like the Black Plague. This is his version of a giant X on the door. Just pretend they're not there. However, the outpost upgrades and just a few Palace Guard are going to make this frustrating. So, heavy sacrifices for Core here. And now his whole army rotating to the south side. Viper. Oh, he blocks him with the palisade. Good luck with that, he says. And with this raid force out of position, surely Viper just takes the center base now, which, yeah, he's doing. The bombards are in. Core, I think he got a little bit baited here. I mean, we talked about these man-at-arms looking like a dog chasing a treat, right? Or chasing their favorite toy. It's happened again. Viper's been like, here, boy. Hey, over here. Hey, fetch. And just like that, he chased a few Palace Guard down to where they came from. And all of a sudden, his entire army is displaced with a wall they can't get through, getting rid of a poxy proxy base that does nothing, while he loses his ginormous base in the center. This was not a good trade for Core. Viper starts the gap close in. And you can see the effect this is going to have, right? With this limited amount of remaining structures, you can't keep pushing man-at-arms like you were. Once this army gets wiped for Core, he might be in trouble. Hand cannon is starting to mass up. Nestabee's being targeted out by the trebuchets. The trebuchet move there. A few Palace Guard might be able to snipe some trebs if he reallocates their target. But now, Viper feels confident about what he's done here. Heavy production damage. And also gathering on the stone. So looking to get a central keep here right next to the base now. And also Sacred Site being capped. So that's additional gold trickle for him. In fact, when we look at the income per minute right now, you can see the only thing that Core is beating him in is food. But because of Viper's composition, he's not going to drain himself of food anytime soon. It's too optimal. Like, yeah, he's throwing away the Palace Guard, but the hand cannoneers don't die that often. And that's why it's important. More important for Core to keep a surplus food than it is for Viper. Core. Oh, no, no, no. The villagers. Why are they fighting? Viper's like, it's just popcat block. I need a bigger military force anyway. Now he pushes out again. Nestabees. Treb's trying to target him, but maybe not quick enough here. The rush through. Man-at-arms. They're going after the bombards, which means they're being shredded by the hand cannoneers. They'll change targets now. Retreat away. More Nestabees being pushed out by Viper. Nuke keep going up the north side here. And the Lombos are in a little bit of a pickle. They should be addressing the hand cannoneers. Instead, they're stuck on top with the Palace Guard. Army once again looking like it's going to be wiped. And this time, Core, can he keep up the reproduction rates? For the moment, yes, because he had a bunch queued in reserve. He might struggle to breach further in. Viper holding him at the threshold once again. Hand cannoneers, more or less all that remains. Nestabees to support and more Palace Guard are coming out. But Core looking like he could potentially gain ground if he keeps the Trebuchets alive. Right now, Trebuchet's in a bit of trouble though. Bombard sniping him out. Needs to reallocate a different target. No, the Man-at-Arms gets it. Clutch kill there. Treb's kept alive. That is a clutch move, ladies and gentlemen. Because now you can pressure onto the keep. More infrastructure coming out. Viper running out of space to build in on the front line here, but needs more troops on that front line stat. He's about to revoke the one-child policy in China because he needs more people pushed out right now. As soon as they come out of the womb, give them a gun, give them a sword, and stick them on that front line because the English are coming. Cool. Gaining more ground. Trebuchets. Maybe target the keep. Might be a better target right now, Core. You need to get in the base. You need to do it soon. Push is renewed. Both sides getting starved on the resource front. However, Core, that surplus is disappearing fast here. This is going to be a problem. He has an income of 3k per minute, but he's using more of that per minute in deaths. Nestabees targeted once again. Man-at-Arms being thrown away once again. Lombos gaining some ground. The important detail here is the hand cannoneer count. It's still healthy at 28. And as long as that stays around the 20 to 30 mark, it means that Core is going to struggle to breach through here. Treb starting to be targeted down. One more to fall. Wingard pass taking 1,000,001 years to push new trebuchets. Just because they wheel out, they are being sniped down. And it looks like Viper. I think he's cut off the bleeding here. He's not hemorrhaging any longer. He got a band-aid. And Core, is anyone else getting the feeling that this force looks a lot smaller than it was a few moments ago? You'd be right. He can't afford it anymore. Look at the military. Look at the eco. That's the difference. He actually can't afford to keep this production rate up. And this is what we've been worried about for several minutes now. I don't know how Core kept it going this long. Surpluses mainly. But now he can't even produce quick enough. He doesn't have enough racks on the front line. And the run from back in base is 1,000,001 miles. By the time they arrive, they're definitely not going to be fat, but they're definitely going to be out of breath. And like that, instantly, Viper just turns and moves out. Ground being surrendered over. Core no longer having the Lombo battalion here either. He can't afford all of it together. Viper, he's stabilized, and from here he can push out. And Core, He's running out of troops here. This is problematic. This is the Congo line of death mentality right now. He hasn't re-established a second line. And because he hasn't thrown back to a second line, it means he's throwing this game. He's about to go down to half his maximum pop cap at this rate. From the Nesabee's in position, he calls it. Court knows it's over. Drained to the bone. Attrition battle did not work out to his edge here. Did not respect the pricey hand cannoneers. Always getting the good trades. And in the end, he runs out of resources quicker than Viper.